grandfather owns a ranch in Northern California in a very small town called Elk Creek. This town has around 100 to 200 people. And so unlike many other ranches that would raise an animal for meat, so a cow for beef, something like that, instead this ranch actually saves animals that are being treated poorly and rescues them and makes it so that they can live a full, happy life here. So some of the animals that they've rescued are emus, goats, chickens, cows, pigs, horses, donkeys. And most mornings when we're there, my brother and I go to feed the goats. So last time we were there was in the summer of 2020 when COVID was raging everywhere else, but it was nice because it's so isolated, we didn't have to wear masks. So we were driving out to the goat barn, and when we got there, we walked inside and we saw 2 of the goats were dead. So we panicked and rushed to get my grandpa. And on a side note, the goats and chickens are in the same barn. So there's an aisle in the middle, goats are on one side, chickens are on the other, and then they both have an outdoor area to go into. Sometimes we let the goats into the chicken area so they can eat down the grass. But this time, as we were driving up, we noticed that the goats were already there, except because we were the first ones to be there, they must have broken down the fence. So back to the story, we rushed to get my grandpa, and he comes out, and we end up finding more sick and dying goats. And what happened was they ate the chicken feed, which is poisonous to them, and will make them very bloated, which will kill them. So also, goats will overeat to the point of death. They will just eat if there's enough food until they die. So we were debating what to do. We could load them into a truck and drive them to the vet, which was an hour and a half away, or we could treat them in place. And because it was 100 degrees out, to get into the truck, it would be about 120 degrees, which would be way too hot for them. So what we ended up doing was we had to feed them a mix of Pepto-Bismol, water, and baking soda. It's basically medicine to help them feel better. And then we also had to inject needles into their stomachs to deflate them and stop the bloating. So also, when I'm telling you this story, you may be thinking this is about 6 goats. No, this is around 23 goats. And so the smaller goats, our favorite goat was the smallest, the runt, and he didn't actually get any of the chicken feed because all the bigger goats would push him out of the way, which basically saved his life. So in the end, we only lost 6 out of the 23 goats, which was really good because if we hadn't ended up treating them, they all would have died. Thank you.